أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه الأجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي عما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear sisters in Islam, we are going to continue with our lecture. And today's lecture is all about the factors that led to the fall of Muslims. So for today, we are going to take one factor that actually led to the fall of Muslims. My dear sisters in Islam, the assassination of the third caliph or the third leader of Islam, Uthman bin Affan, this actually brought all about the fall of Muslims. This incident, my dear sisters, was such a painful event which upset the central structure of the collective life of the Muslims and opened up the Pandora box, letting loose all possible events against the Muslims. So the rebellion against the central government of Muslims could not be put to an end because of the tolerance of Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu and his exclusion as a matter of policy in using what effective force against the rebels. He gave his own life but did not allow the mischief to become wildly spread. So the order came to pass. The third Caliph of Islam, Uthman bin Affan, was mercilessly killed in a violent way. For 2 days, my dear sisters in Islam, his body could not be attended to for burial and coffin. On the third day, some courageous men made a bold attempt to get his dead body properly buried. And and the whole of Islamic empire, my dear sisters, after the burial was full of chaos due to the assassination of the third Caliph Uthman bin Affan. My dear sisters in Islam, under such circumstances, Ali radiallahu anhu was selected as the fourth Caliph of Islam, much against his desire. His high status, piety, his honesty, his sincerity, and godliness were above all doubt. Yet the plots of the hypocrites and the ignorance of some newly converted Muslims made the internal struggle for power in Iraq and Syria a point of power struggle. To cope with this most unusual political situation, political wisdom of very high quality of someone's character was required, along with great what skills and good judgment in the use of resources, which the pious character of Ali radiallahu anhu and his purity of personal nature could not assemble troops in preparation for battle. My dear sisters in Islam, the first step after Ali radiallahu anhu was appointed as a Khalif or as a leader of Muslims, the first step he intended to take in the field of administration immediately after attaining into power was to remove Muawiyah. And Muawiyah, keeping in mind that was from the clan of Banu Umayyad, and also the assassinated third Khalif, Uthman bin Affan, also was from the Umayyad clan, the Banu Umayyad clan. So here, the first step Ali radiallahu anhu intended to take in the field of administration immediately after attaining into power was to remove Muawiyah from the governorship of Syria when Muawiyah had built a great personal influence in that position, and he was seasoned and well versed in politics as they were. So Mughira bin Shoba radiallahu anhu and Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhu advised Ali radiallahu anhu not to remove Muawiyah radiallahu anhu from his governorship before he had pledged agreement with selection of Ali radiallahu anhu as the fourth caliph or leader of Islam. But unfortunately, Ali radiallahu anhu declined yani, to accept the advice of elderly companions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Such was indeed the official order that had the force of law, yani, which no one could cancel. So Ali radiallahu anhu said to the two elderly companions, worldly ability to govern and discipline oneself by the use of reason and political wisdom should make me agree uh, with their opinion, and I should not remove Muawiyah radiallahu anhu as the governor of Syria from his governorship of Syria. But I'm in possession of certain facts which force me as an honest and God-fearing man to remove him. If he, the governor, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, the governor of Syria, obeys my orders as a Khalif or as a leader, he continued saying this, Ali radiallahu anhu. He said, if he, the governor, or Muawiyah, the governor of Syria, obeys my orders as a Khalif or as a leader, well and good. And if he declines to obey, I shall use my sword against him. My dear sisters in Islam, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhum advised Ali radiallahu anhu that if he was intent upon removing all the officers belonging to Banu Umayyad, of which the assassinated third Khalif Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu was also from the, the same clan, he may at least postpone the removal of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu till he had taken pledge yani, to accept Ali radiallahu anhu as the fourth Khalif or as the fourth leader of Islam. Unfortunately, my dear sisters in Islam, Ali radiallahu anhu rejected even this proposal of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He terminated the services of all the officials belonging to Bani Umayyad who were appointed at various places during the leadership of Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu. He sent letters of dismissal to all the Banu Umayyad governors and appointed fresh governors of his own choice at their places. My dear sisters in Islam, unfortunately, the political atmosphere of all these regions was so much charged against Ali radiallahu anhu that the people refused to cooperate with his governors. For example, Sahal bin Hanif, who replaced Muawiyah as a governor in Syria, met a group of people at Tabuk on his way to Syria. People asked him who he was. He said he was the new governor of Syria. The people told him bluntly, if you have been appointed by Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, you are welcome. If someone else has appointed you, you should go back to whosoever appointed you. Similarly, my dear sisters in Islam, Imara bin Sahab, who was appointed as the new governor of Kufa. Kufa, of course, is in was in Iraq. So, Imara bin Shahab, who was appointed as the new governor of Kufa, met Tulayha bin Khuwailid on the way at Zabala, who advised him to go back because the people of Kufa will not do what? Will not accept him. And the people of Kufa will not accept anyone in place of their present governor. So he continued to tell him, if you refuse to go back, Tuleha continued to tell him, if you refuse to go back, I shall behead you. So Emara was a man of weak nerves. He was frightened um, at the foregoing conversation and at once returned to Ali radiallahu anhu. Similarly, also another example was the situation in Yemen. Ubaidullah bin Abbas, the appointee of Ali radiallahu anhu, reached Yemen. By the time he reached Yemen, Yala'a bin Umayyah collected all the revenues and came to Mecca with all the money. My dear sisters in Islam, when Ali radiallahu anhu came to know all these circumstances, he said to Talha radiallahu anhu and Zubayr radiallahu anhu, what I had frightened you against had come to pass. The untold events have to be taken yani, have to be taken yani, serious notice, have to be taken with serious notice of mischief, also has to be coped with effective, yani, to coped with effectively. I shall display patience, continue to say Ali radiallahu anhu, I shall display patience and forbearance to the extent I'm able yani, to do what? I'm able to yani. But when the matters got out of control, I shall be left with no option but to use my sword, because the best remedy of a disease is to stamp it. So the matter could not have been, my dear sisters, the matter could not have been peacefully handled, and the above situation could have been controlled by Ali radiallahu anhu if he had not insisted on the removal of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu from the governorship of Syria. He did both the things together. He sent, first of all, a letter of dismissal to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and also demanded allegiance from him as the leader or as the caliph of the Muslims. The worst, my dear sister, the worst fear of Mughira bin Shoba radiallahu anhu came true. Muawiyah had been ruling over the Syrians for the last 20 years or more, and he was thoroughly acquainted with the habits, character, likes, and dislikes of the Syrian people, who were greatly impressed by his generosity and kindness. This ground, my dear sisters, was sufficient to arouse the Syrians against Ali radiallahu anhu, particularly when the movement for the revenge of the assassination of Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, the third Caliph or the third leader, had spread like blazing fire in the entire Islamic empire. So, my dear sisters in Islam, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu took another psychological step to arouse the anger of Syrians. He placed on the platform in the central mosque of Damascus, Syria, the blood-stained shirt of Uthman radiallahu anhu and three chopped fingers of Naila radiallahu anha, the faithful wife of Uthman radiallahu anhu. So when the public gathered in the mosque and came across all these situations, all of the young and old began to weep a lot, and they vowed openly never to pay loyalty to any leader or any caliph until the blood of Uthman bin Affan had been avenged. So the messenger who visited Syria, Damascus, with the message of Ali radiallahu uh, radiallahu anhu during that situation, saw the whole demonstration of the weeping public and the entire incident, and he reported the entire incident to Ali radiallahu anhu on return. So Ali radiallahu anhu, on hearing the whole incident, said loudly, "Oh Allah, you are a witness to my claim that I had no hand in the assassination of Uthman radiallahu anhu." What Ali radiallahu anhu said was above all doubt and suspicion. But, my dear sisters in Islam, unfortunately, his political steps taken much against the advice of Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anhuma and Mughira bin Shoba radiallahu anhu upset his plans and changed the atmosphere positively against him. So his appointment of Muhammad bin Abi Bakr radiallahu anhu and Ashtar Nakhi, who had been accused of participation in the murder of Uthman radiallahu Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, the third Caliph, made the political atmosphere totally against Ali radiallahu anhu. So another strange event of history needs to be mentioned here, my dear sisters in Islam. Talha radiallahu anhu and Zubayr radiallahu anhu, who had successfully persuaded Ali radiallahu anhu to shoulder the burden of Khilafah, or to become the fourth Caliph or the fourth leader of Islam, they surprisingly joined the party of Aisha radiallahu anha and began preparation against Ali radiallahu anhu to avenge the innocent blood of Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu. So they they must have been ignorant of the fact that Ali radiallahu anhu had absolutely no hand in the assassination of Uthman radiallahu anhu. My dear sisters in Islam, the opposition of Ali radiallahu anhu in Syria and Mecca was making him agitated. So another mistake made by Ali radiallahu anhu during his leadership um, uh, in um, in issues dealing with successions, as ill-advised by certain people, Ali radiallahu anhu dismissed the governor of Egypt, who was his supporter and well-wisher. In his place, Muhammad bin Abi Bakr was made the governor of Egypt. This, my dear sisters in Islam, also changed this change of yani, governorship caused a kind of ill will in the hearts of Egyptians against Ali radiallahu anhu, and a majority of them began to support Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. So, my dear sisters in Islam, in the year 36 after Hijrah, after the Battle of Camel, Ali radiallahu anhu changed the capital of Muslim state from Medina to Kufa because he thought Medina as a sacred place was being treated with violence due to political unrest and commotion. This, my dear sisters in Islam, was certainly an act of piety on the part of Ali radiallahu anhu, but its effect was not suggestive of good health and physical well-being. So here, Ali radiallahu anhu was totally deprived of the wise and good advice of many companions who lived in Medina and could not be moved to Kufa in Iraq. So on the other side, my dear sisters in Islam, the newly converted Muslims who had overcrowded Kufa in Iraq came close to Ali radiallahu anhu, and he was influenced by their company. So all the above quoted actions of Ali radiallahu anhu had no satisfactory explanation except that he considered everybody pure, pious, and selfless like him. So, unfortunately, my dear sisters in Islam, Ali radiallahu anhu did not possess the excellent, inspiring, and dominant personality of Omar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, who always made it sure that his order were properly and fully implemented. Secondly, similarly, when a general of Khalid bin Walid was removed from the control command, nobody had dared to question the action of the Khalif uh, Omar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu. Nobody had dared to question. Thirdly, similarly, the removal by Omar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu of Mughira bin Shoba radiallahu anhu and Sa'ad bin Abi Waqas radiallahu anhu from the posts of governor did not arouse any criticism or um, agitation. Unfortunately, my dear sisters in Islam, Ali radiallahu anhu could not display that dominating attitude in the implementation of his state orders, and that became the first factor that led to the fall of Muslims. Shukran jazila wa barakallahu fikum. We are going to continue with our lecture on the second part uh, of the second factor that led to the fall of Muslims.